He asked an alien widow for a job. She said, "My son needs a father." Nobody on Horizon 6 expected the sky to burn. The colony was peaceful. A quiet human settlement on the edge of known space. No military bases, no defense fleets, just families who wanted a simple life under two gentle suns. In the mornings, the fields glowed gold. Windmills turned slowly. Children played near the irrigation canals. People greeted each other by name. Horizon 6 was the kind of place where doors were left unlocked. Life was slow. Life was calm, but peace does not last forever. In a small farmhouse near the center of the colony lived a girl named Mira Hale, age 14. She woke early every day to help her father repair farming tools. She liked machines. She liked solving problems. She liked building things. She believed the galaxy was full of wonders. On the day everything changed, she was sitting on a hill, drawing the sunrise in a small notebook. Her younger brother, Jace, slept inside the house. Her father, Ethan, was already in the workshop, humming softly while organizing his tools. Then the ground trembled. At first, Mira thought it was a storm. Horizon 6 sometimes had windstorms that shook the windows and rattled the rooftops. But this was different. The air vibrated. Birds fled. A low hum spread across the sky, then a shadow passed over the sun. Mira looked up, and her heart stopped. Ships, not human ships. Dark metal shapes. Sharp like blades slid across the sky in complete silence. Their hulls shimmered like oil on water. Symbols glowed red across their sides. Symbols Mira did not recognize. Dozens. No, hundreds. The ships moved in perfect formation, blocking out the light. The colony fell under their shadow. The air grew cold. Mira ran. She sprinted down the hill, lungs burning, sandals slipping in dirt. Her voice broke as she screamed, "Dad! Dad, they're here!" "Something's here." Ethan stepped outside just as the invasion sirens began to scream across the colony. Not practice drills. Real sirens, real danger. Ethan grabbed Mira and Jace and pushed them behind him. Lights flickered across the workshop wall. A voice boomed across every speaker. "Every radio, every device. Attention. Human colony. This world now belongs to the Dravak Dominion. Do not resist." The words echoed like thunder rolling across the settlement. People rushed into the streets. Mothers grabbed children. Farmers dropped tools. A crowd gathered in confusion and panic. Then the first blast struck. A beam of burning red light sliced across the colony square, turning stone to smoking glass. Shockwaves knocked people to the ground. Screams filled the air. The peaceful colony became a battlefield in seconds. Landing craft dropped from the ships, slamming into the soil with bone-rattling force. The doors hissed open, and the Dravak soldiers stepped out, tall, scaled, armored in dark bone-like plating. Eyes glowing like embers in a dying fire, they moved like predators. They enjoyed the fear. They could smell it. Mira and Jace clung to their father. One soldier stepped toward them, towering above Ethan. Ethan raised his hands slowly. "We are civilians," he said, voice shaky. "There is no army here. Please, we don't want war." The Dravak soldier tilted its head, studying the human as if examining a weak animal. Then it spoke. Weak things always say such things. And with one brutal strike, it knocked Ethan to the ground. Mira screamed. Jace cried. They tried to help their father, but more Dravak surrounded them. Soldiers dragged groups of colonists toward waiting ships, captives to be taken away. The fear. Dravak believed they had already won because they thought humans were soft, harmless, easy. They made a mistake. As night fell, Mira sat hidden behind a broken storage tank, holding Jace close, her father gone with the others. The colony lights were destroyed. Smoke drifted across the fields. The stars looked cold and far away. Jace trembled. "Why did they take Dad?" he whispered. Mira swallowed her tears. "Because they think we're weak," she said. She remembered something. Something important. On top of the hill behind their home stood an old relay tower. Barely used, mostly forgotten, but still connected to the outer communication network. Mira looked at Jace. "I'm going to call for help." "You'll get caught," he whispered. Maybe, Mira said. But if I don't try, no one will know what happened here. She placed their father's small metal pendant around his neck. Wait for me. Hide. Don't move until I come back. Jace nodded. Even though he was terrified, Mira ran into the dark. She climbed the hill again, the same hill where she watched peaceful sunrises. Now smoke covered the horizon. Fires burned. The air smelled like metal and dust. She reached the relay tower. Her hands shook as she powered it on. The system flickered. Nearly dead, she pressed the transmitter key and spoke. Her voice broke. This is Horizon 6. We are under attack. They took my father. They destroyed our home. Please, someone. Please hear me. Silence. Then, the signal sent, across billions of kilometers, carried on fractured radio waves, until it reached a Terran fleet patrol. A communications officer stared at the message. Then he turned to his captain, Captain Rourke. The colony. They've been attacked. Rourke's expression turned to steel. He spoke one order. Prepare the fleet. We move now. No speeches. No threats. No hesitation. The humans were coming. And when humans come with purpose, the galaxy remembers. The call that echoed, the distress signal from Horizon 6, traveled through deep space like a dying spark in a dark ocean. Most signals like it were lost, swallowed, forgotten. But this one was heard. On the TSS Resolute, a Terran Defense Fleet cruiser, the bridge was quiet. Crew worked with calm focus. Screens glowed with star maps and scanning grids. There was no noise except the hum of engines. Then the distress tone cut through the silence. A young communications officer, Lieutenant Hayes, froze when he read the message. Captain. Sir, you should see this. Captain Rourke stepped forward. He was a tall man, older than most soldiers, with silver in his beard and tired eyes that had seen far too many wars. He had retired twice. He never stayed retired long. The galaxy did not let some men rest. He read Mira's desperate signal. Her voice trembling, afraid, but refusing to break. They took my father. They destroyed our home. Please, someone, please hear me. For a few seconds, the bridge was silent, not because they were unsure, but because every person on that ship knew exactly what this meant. A civilian colony attacked, families in danger, children taken. This was not just war, this was personal. Rourke spoke quietly. Location of Horizon 6? Outer border of Sector 14, Hayes answered. No station defenses. Closest fleet is us. Rourke nodded. He didn't need more information. He didn't ask if they had enough ships. He didn't ask if the enemy was stronger. He didn't ask if the government had approved a response. He simply said, "Bring us to war speed." The engines roared to life. Alarms sounded through the ship. Soldiers who had been resting sat up immediately. They didn't cheer. They didn't ask questions. They began armor checks, weapon calibrations, breathing exercises. They prepared like people who had done this before, because they had. Humans were no strangers to defending what mattered. Meanwhile, back on Horizon 6, Mira stayed hidden in an old irrigation ditch outside the colony center. She watched from a distance as the Dravak patrols marched through the broken streets. They were not worried. They were not looking over their shoulders. They believed the battle was over. Dravak officer laughed as he kicked over a child's toy. Humans, he said to his squad. Soft, emotional, weak. The soldiers laughed, but Mira's eyes hardened. The Dravak did not know humans. Not really. They did not understand that pain does not break humans. It fuels them, she whispered to herself. They will come. Humans always come for their own. Back in space, the TSS Resolute was no longer alone. 3 more ships joined it. The Vanguard, heavy. Artillery cruiser, the Arrowfall, fast strike. Frigate, the Silverwake, medical. And support carrier. Word had already spread. Humans talk. Human soldiers talk faster. A colony was attacked. Families were hurt. And across military outposts, human soldiers said only one thing. We go. Nobody ordered them. Nobody needed to. When humans hear one of their own is suffering, they move on the Resolute. War Room Captain Rourke studied the map. He pointed at the enemy fleet formation around Horizon 6, Dravak Dominion. Lieutenant Hayes explained. Expansionist. Cold-blooded. They believe mercy is weakness. Rourke's jaw tightened. "I've fought their kind before," he said. "They don't negotiate. They calculate." "Sir," another officer asked softly, "do we request permission from High Command?" Rourke looked at him. It was not anger, it was certainty. If we wait for permission, there will be no one left to save. No one questioned him again. The Dravak mothership, orbit of Horizon 6 Dravak. Commander Vorak Sesh stood at a transparent viewport, watching the fallen colony below. His armor shimmered like obsidian. His voice was a low rumble. "Humans fell easily," one of his officers reported. "Their spirit breaks quickly." Vorak did not smile. His species considered smiling a sign of weakness, but his voice carried satisfaction. "Good. Fear makes them bend. Broken things are easy to control," he did not know. Humans do not stay broken. As the fleet approaches on the Resolute, soldiers stood in formation, not shouting, not boasting, silent, focused. This was not a war of nations. This was a rescue, a retrieval, a promise. Captain Rourke stepped before them. His voice was calm. "We are not fighting for territory. We are not fighting for glory. We are fighting because someone called for help, and humans do not abandon their own. No cheers, just burning. Determination." The engines flared, stars blurred into streaks of light. The humans were coming, and when humans come, they do not come politely. They come like a storm. Whispers in the galaxy. News travels fast in the galaxy, not through official channels, not through governments, but through fear. And the moment the Dravak Dominion attacked Horizon 6, a quiet tension began to spread, first through merchant routes, then through wandering ships, then through nations that pretended not to see. People whispered. The Dravak attacked humans. Again? Do they not remember the Terran War? The humans won't stay quiet. Everyone knew what the Dravak were. Conquerors, predators, cold strategists. But everyone also knew what humans were. They were the ones who survived everything, even extinction-level wars, and came back stronger. The ones who never forgot pain and never forgave harm done to family, and Horizon 6 was a family colony, not military, not industrial. Just parents, children, the worst kind of target any enemy could have chosen. In a trading station orbiting planet Lurith 9, a group of alien pilots sat in a low-lit bar. Their voices quiet, uneasy. A reptilian merchant tapped the counter with shaking claws. "You hear the humans are moving?" he hissed. A feathered alien beside him nodded slowly. Yes, a fleet was seen leaving Terran space. Fast, no delay. No diplomacy. The reptilian merchant swallowed hard. That means blood is coming. The feathered alien spoke the old saying, "If humans fight for land, they bargain. If humans fight for survival, they endure. But if humans fight for family, run." Everyone at the table fell silent. No one laughed. No one doubted, because the galaxy had seen it before. Meanwhile, on Horizon 6, Mira spent the night hidden in an abandoned irrigation pipe with Jace. She kept her hand over his mouth when Dravak patrols passed. The dirt beneath them vibrated with heavy footsteps. Jace whispered, voice trembling, "Mira." "Will they come?" Mira looked up at the stars, faint through the smoke. "Yes," she said. Not like a hope, but like a fact. Humans always come. She didn't know how close help already was. Aboard the TSS Resolute, the navigation lights dimmed as the fleet prepared to exit faster than light travel. Captain Rourke stood at the front viewport. The stars came into focus. Ahead, Horizon 6, silent, burning, occupied. Rourke's jaw tightened. His voice was steady. Battle Protocol 7. We go in quiet, no warnings, no negotiation, no offers of surrender. This was not a war of politics. This was a retrieval mission, a rescue, a message. On the Dravak command ship, Commander Vorak Sesh lounged on his throne-like command seat. He believed the colony was secure. His soldiers were already preparing to transport the captured humans to labor camps. His second-in-command approached. "Commander, long-range scanners detect..." Vorak raised a clawed hand dismissively. "If it is another trading vessel, ignore it." "It is not a trader," the officer said softly. Vorak opened his eyes. "Show me." The display screen lit up. 4 Terran ships appeared. Not large, not massive in number, but precise, fast, direct. Vorak frowned. Only 4? They send so few. Yes, Commander, Vorak smiled. To Dravak minds, numbers were everything. If you outnumbered your enemy, you already won. Prepare to destroy them, he ordered. Humans will learn their place. He did not understand. Humans do not measure wars by numbers. They measure by what they are fighting for, and this time, they were fighting for a child's voice, begging for help. The approach inside the Terran strike ship Aerofall. Soldiers sat strapped into their drop columns, slick. Metal cylinders used for fast atmospheric descent. No one spoke. Their breathing was calm. These were orbital drop marines, the kind of humans the galaxy feared most. A rookie soldier. Barely 19, looked nervous. His hands shook. The veteran beside him leaned close and whispered, "Hold it together." "You know the rule." The rookie nodded. "We don't start fights, but we end them." The veteran nodded once. Boy. Captain Rourke gave the final order. Drop. The drop pods fired. Streaks of fire ripped through the upper atmosphere. To anyone on Horizon 6, it looked like meteors falling from the sky. Dravak patrols looked up, confused. Then they realized, too late. The humans had arrived. Mira and Jace saw the streaks from the hill. Jace clutched Mira's arm. "What is that?" Mira's breath caught. She knew. That's them. The sky glowed. Brighter. The humans are here. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with hope, real. Hope. Hope with teeth. Hope with fire. Hope that fights back. Dravak had taken Horizon 6, but the humans had come to take it back. And this time, there would be no mercy. When humans land, the Dravak soldiers heard the sound first. A low rumble, like thunder trapped inside the clouds. Like the planet itself was breathing harder. At first, they did not understand. The Dravak believed the humans would come slowly, cautiously, begging or negotiating. But humans did not come like diplomats. They came like gravity, heavy, unstoppable, certain. Across Horizon 6, the night sky tore open with streaks of burning light. Drop pods, thick metal cylinders, fell like spears thrown by the angry stars. The Dravak commander on the ground shouted orders. "Shields up! Defensive formation! Prepare for ground engagement." But the pods struck before the shields could rise. Boom! They hit the earth with sonic force, throwing sand and ash into the air. The ground shook. Old buildings cracked. Windows shattered. Silence followed. For one long heartbeat. Then, the pods opened. Metal petals unfolded. Steam hissed out, and the humans stepped out. They did not scream. They did not roar. They did not announce themselves. They just began. Moving, smooth, coordinated, efficient. These were orbital drop marines, the most feared. Ground soldiers in the Terran forces. They wore matte black combat suits, helmets with glowing visor strips. Every movement controlled, calm and deadly. The Dravak soldiers hesitated. They had seen recordings of humans, laughing, shouting, dancing, arguing. These humans were not those humans. These humans were war quiet. Mira and Jace's view from their hiding place near a collapsed irrigation tank. Mira watched in stunned silence. Jace whispered, Are those really humans?" Mira nodded slowly. "Yes, but not the humans Horizon 6 was used to. Not farmers. Not workers. Not teachers. These were the humans the galaxy whispered about. The humans who survived impossible wars. The humans who adapted to every planet. The humans who refused to surrender even when surrounded. The humans that came when family was threatened. The first Clasher Dravak squad rushed forward, weapons raised. Their commander hissed, "Do not fear them. They bleed like we do." But the Marines did not attack head-on. They disappeared. Their suits bent light. Their movements blurred. They used cover like they were part of it. One Marine dropped from a rooftop, landing behind a Dravak soldier. One strike. The alien fell. Another Marine fired a short burst, not wild, not wasteful. 3 shots. 3 hits. 3 enemies down. Every motion was clean, precise, cold. The Dravak expected rage. But humans were calm. Calm is scarier than rage. Rage is emotional. Calm is certain, inside. The Dravac command center commander Vorak. Sesh stared at the battlefield screens. Confusion. Frustration. This was not how humans were supposed to fight. His officer trembled. They are not attacking like normal troops. Vorak slammed his claws into the control panel. That's because they are not troops, he snarled. They are Earthborn. They fight for blood, for home. His voice lowered to a fearful whisper. They fight for family. The room fell silent. Even the Dravac felt fear then. Captain Rourke's landing over the colony. Another pod fell, larger, heavier. When it opened, Captain Rourke stepped out. He removed his helmet slowly. His face was calm, weathered, human, nothing alien. Nothing monstrous, but his eyes. His eyes held something that made even battle-hardened warriors go still. Not rage. Not hate. Promise. He didn't shout an order. He simply pointed toward the colony. Square. And the Marines moved. Mira meets Rourke. Mira saw him from behind her hiding spot. She stepped out before she could stop. Herself, wait! A Marine immediately pointed his rifle. But Rourke raised his hand. The Marine lowered the weapon instantly. Rourke approached Mira slowly. Taking in her dirt-covered face, her shaking hands, her eyes still bright with fight. You sent the signal, Rourke said quietly. Mira nodded. She couldn't speak. Her throat was tight. Rourke placed a steady hand on her shoulder. You did well. The colony stands because of you. Mira's breath shook. My father. They took him. Rourke didn't ask questions. He didn't reassure with empty words. He simply said, then we get him back. And for the first time since the invasion began, Mira felt safe. Not because the danger was gone, but because someone stronger had taken responsibility. The Dravac retreat, realizing. They were losing. The Dravac began pulling back toward their landing craft. They tried to regroup, but the Marines cut them off, not with overwhelming numbers, but with strategy. Dravac lieutenant screamed, "Why do they fight like this?" "Why do they not break?" a Marine replied without stopping. "Because we don't know how to." The turning point commander. Vorak finally understood. The humans would not be intimidated. They would not run. They would not surrender. So he made his decision. Prepare the hostages. We retreat to orbit. Yes, he was taking the captured colonists with him, including Mira's father. Mira felt her heart stop. Rourke looked at her. His voice was steady. Then we go to space. The ground battle was only the beginning. The real war was about to begin above the sky. The sky burns. The Dravac were leaving. Their landing ships rose from the colony fields in roaring columns of fire, engines shaking the ground. They were pulling back to their mothership in orbit, taking the captured humans with them. Mira watched. The ships ascend, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Her father was on one of those ships. Every second mattered. "No," she whispered. "He can't be taken. Not now. Not after everything." Rourke heard the pain in her voice. He did not speak softly. He did not comfort. He gave orders. All units, prepare for orbital pursuit. We're not finished here. The Marines formed up instantly. They didn't ask for extra time. They didn't ask if it was possible. Because impossibility meant nothing now. Emergency launch zone. Horizon 6A metal cargo elevator rose from beneath the colony, dust and sand sliding off its sides. Inside it rested 3 high-speed interceptors, sleek black starfighters designed for rapid ascent. Their engines glowed with the cold blue light of military resolve. Rourke turned to Mira. "You stay planetside. This next part is war in vacuum." "You can't help there." Mira met his eyes. She was young, but her voice was steady. "But he is my father." Rourke didn't move. His face didn't change, but something in his eyes sharpened. Not pity. Respect. He turned to one of his lieutenants. "Put her in a suit." The Marine blinked. "Sir, she's a civilian." Rourke spoke quietly. "She's the reason we're here." Permission was given. Mira didn't smile. She didn't thank him. She simply nodded and began preparing. Inside the suiting bay, a Marine named Kessler helped Mira into a light EVA combat suit. The armor was smooth, fitted, and intimidating. It felt like wearing a metal heartbeat. Kessler adjusted the oxygen valve. "You scared?" Mira swallowed. "Yes." Kessler nodded. "Good. Scared means you care. Scared means you fight smarter." Mira looked up at him. "Were you ever scared?" Kessler laughed once quietly. "Still am." But he put a hand on her shoulder. "Humans don't fight because we're fearless. We fight because we refuse to run." Launch, the interceptors ignited, dust exploding outward. The ground thundered as they rose, carrying Captain Rourke, 2 elite strike pilots, and Mira Hale. The colony grew smaller beneath them. The sky grew darker. Stars appeared, cold and vast. Then the Dravak mothership came into view, a monstrous thing of black metal and pulsing red lights, like a living fortress carved from nightmare. Jace and the remaining colonists watched from below, tiny silhouettes against the burning horizon. He whispered, "Come back. Approaching the mothership, target acquisition in 60 seconds, one pilot reported. Rourke responded calmly, "No full assault. We disable engines first. If they jump to hyperspace with the captives, it's over." Mira stared at the massive ship. It was enormous, terrifying, hopeless. But she whispered to herself, "He is alive. I know he is." And she was right. Inside the Dravak prison hold, Ethan Hale sat bound in a metal cell, blood on his forehead. Around him, other colonists wept or stared blankly, but Ethan whispered one thing over and over, "My daughter is still alive." Hope, even whispered, is louder than chains. The Dravak reactor alarms began blaring across the mothership. Commander Vorak Sesh stormed into the control hall. "What is approaching our flank?" His officer stammered. "Human interceptors, Commander. 3 of them." Vorak snarled. 3. They dare." But the officer swallowed hard. "Commander, scans show pilot signatures. These are not regular soldiers." "They are Earthborn." Vorak's eyes narrowed. "They should have sent more." The officer whispered, "No, Commander. Earthborn means they didn't need more." A silence colder than space settled in the room. The first Strike Rourke's voice came through the comms, weapons free. No dramatic music, no battle cries, just action. The human fighters dove. Energy beams split the darkness. Dravak escort craft scrambled in panic. Explosions lit the void like miniature suns. Mira watched in silence. She had no weapon, no training, only determination. Rourke pointed at the mothership's engine core. "Pilot 3, take the shot." The third fighter peeled off, banking hard. A plasma blast struck its wing. The fighter spiraled, burning. "No!" Mira gasped. Rourke didn't flinch. "Pilot 3, status." Static crackled, then a calm voice. "Still here, still fighting." Humans were not fragile. They were stubborn. Boarding plan. Rourke opened a compartment in front of Mira. Inside were 3 compact boarding harnesses. "Mira," he said, voice even, "we are not here to destroy the ship. We are here to enter it." Mira looked at the open black space around them, at the massive hostile warship, at death everywhere. "How?" she whispered. Rourke held her gaze. "We jump. No platform, no docking bridge, just raw human will." Mira's hands trembled, but she stepped forward. She did not step because she was brave. She stepped because love is stronger than fear. Rourke nodded once. The interceptors lined up with the mothership hull, and the humans jumped into the void, the heart of the enemy. There are moments in life when time seems to stop, when the world shrinks down to a single breath, a single heartbeat, a single choice. For Mira, that moment came as she fell through space, weightless, descending toward the hull of the Dravak mothership. Her oxygen was steady, her suit sealed, but her heart hammered in her chest. Beside her, Captain Rourke and 2 Marines drifted with controlled precision. They didn't flail, they didn't panic. They moved with the quiet confidence of those who had done the impossible before. Rourke's voice crackled calmly in Mira's helmet. "Focus on breathing, slow, steady. Space only wins if you panic. Mira tried. She forced her breath to match his pace. In, out, in, out. They neared the ship's hull, black metal, jagged, moving slowly beneath them like the back of a sleeping beast. Rourke extended his arm. A magnetic hook fired from his wrist mount. Clang. The tether locked to the hull. The others did the same. Mira copied them. Her tether attached. She was anchored. She had made it. On board the mothership, inside the Dravak prison hold, Ethan Hale sat chained to a wall. His head was bowed, but his spirit had not broken. The colonists around him whispered in despair. There is no escape. No one knows we're here. We are already dead. But Ethan shook his head. No, he said, voice steady despite the blood on his face. My daughter is alive. She called for help. And humans don't abandon their own. Another prisoner whispered. How do you know they'll come? Ethan lifted his eyes, full of certainty. Because they already have. And at that exact moment, the ship trembled. The lights flickered. Everyone in the prison looked up. Something had breached the hull. Hope returned like oxygen to burning lungs. Hull breach, outer docking ring. Rourke and the Marines worked fast. Their suits magnet-locked to the metal. They moved in silence along the hull. Mira followed, clutching her tether line tightly. Ahead of them was a circular airlock, thick, armored, reinforced. Rourke placed a small round device on it. A breech bloom. Silent, clean, no explosion. The metal door melted outward like wax. A thin line of atmosphere hissed out into space. Rourke looked back at Mira. You step behind me, no matter what you see. Understand? Mira nodded, no shaking, no hesitation. She was still afraid, but she was stronger than her fear. The first contact inside, the team slipped into the airlock corridor. Gravity returned gradually. Dravak soldiers were waiting. They didn't shout. They didn't roar. They moved fast. Energy blades ignited in their hands, glowing red like burning coals. The Marines did not back up. They stepped forward. The first clash was brutal and silent. A Marine blocked a blade with his arm shield and drove his elbow into a Dravak throat. Another fired short bursts, controlled. No wasted bullets. Rourke fought like a man with purpose. His knife flashed, a precise strike through the enemy armor joint. Another blade came at him. He dodged and countered in one motion. Mira watched, breath held, heart racing. Humans didn't fight with elegance. They fought with resolve. The Dravak expected fear. They found discipline instead. Commander Vorak watches on the command deck. Vorak saw the combat feed. His claws tightened. These humans, they bored us like animals. No, his officer whispered, voice trembling. Not animals. Something worse. Vorak's eyes narrowed to slits. Seal the prison block. Use the captives as shields. Even his own officer stared at him in shock. But Commander, Vorak turned slowly. His voice was cold. Weakness is death. Do you question me? No, Commander. But something had shifted. Even the Dravak were beginning to fear. Mira reaches the comms terminal as Marines held the corridor. Rourke guided Mira to a communications port. This is how we find your father, he said. She hacked the controls, not because she was trained, but because she had fixed machines her entire life. Her hands moved like she'd done this for years. The map of the ship flickered onto her visor. Prison block D12. She saw him, her father, alive, her breath caught. He's there, she whispered. Rourke didn't ask if she was sure. He just placed a hand on her shoulder. Lead the way. The walk through the dark corridor, the path to D12, was not easy. The power flickered. Air was thin. Metal groaned around them like a living monster. Mira walked at the front, not because she was fearless, but because love moved her legs forward when fear tried to freeze them. Behind her, Rourke and the Marines guarded every angle. Silent, steady, unstoppable. Ahead was the prison. Ahead was her father. Ahead was the defining moment of her life. As they approached the final door, Mira heard it. Her father's voice. Weak, but alive. She ran faster. The door to the prison slid open. Ethan lifted his head, eyes met. For a moment, the war disappeared. Dad, Mira! They ran to each other. They held each other. And for the first time since the invasion began, someone cried from joy, not fear. Even Rourke looked away, letting the moment breathe. But the moment did not last, because down the main corridor, heavy footsteps approached. Slow, deliberate. Commander Vorak Sesh had come himself. The final confrontation was no longer avoidable. The humans had reached the heart of the enemy. Now the enemy was coming to face the heart of the humans. The line that cannot be broken. The metal corridor fell silent. No alarms. No gunfire. No shouting. Just the sound of heavy, deliberate footsteps approaching. Commander Vorak Sesh stepped into view, towering, armored, scaled, and confident. His eyes glowed with a cold orange light. His shadow stretched long across the corridor floor. Behind Mira, the Marines shifted their stance.
Weapons raised.
Breathing steady, Rourke stepped forward. He didn't draw his knife yet. He didn't raise his weapon. He simply looked at the commander. Vorak studied him, head tilting, expression unreadable. "You humans," he said slowly. "You break so easily. Yet you continue to stand." Rourke didn't blink. "You made one mistake." Vorak's claws flexed. "And what mistake is that?" Rourke's answer was calm. "You touched family." Silence. Mira stood beside her father, gripping his arm. She trembled, but she didn't step back. She would not hide behind others. Vorak's voice rumbled through the corridor. "Family is weakness. Attachment clouds judgment. Love makes you fragile." Mira looked up at him with tears still drying. On her face, her voice was small but steady. "No. Love is why we fight." That single sentence changed the air. Rourke smiled, just the slightest. Bit the Marines straightened. Vorak hesitated, not because of fear, but because he did not understand, and anything unknown is dangerous. The final fight begins. Vorak roared and charged. He moved like a monster, fast, powerful, heavy. His claws could cut through armor. His fist could break bone. But humans did not meet power with power. They met it with purpose. Rourke stepped to the side. Let the momentum pass. Struck the joint of the commander's arm. A clean hit. Disabling movement. Vorak hissed in pain and surprise. Humans aim for weaknesses. Marine moved in, shot, fired. Vorak dodged and crushed the Marine's rifle with his bare hand. The corridor vibrated with violence. Ethan pulled Mira back, holding her close, shielding her. But Mira didn't look away. She needed to see this. Because this was not just a fight. This was the meaning of being human. Not strength, not power, but refusal. Refusal to surrender. Refusal to break. Refusal to stop protecting. The turning point. Vorak landed a crushing blow on Rourke's chest plate, cracking it. The captain fell hard, coughing, catching himself before his head hit the floor. Vorak stepped forward to finish it. Mira moved, not thinking, not planning, just moving. She grabbed a broken piece of metal paneling from the floor and charged at the Dravak commander with everything she had. Vorak turned, too slow to react. He expected fear. Instead, he got Mira. Her strike hit his wounded arm. Crack. The joint broke. Vorak stumbled. Rourke stood again, and with one final motion, he drove his combat blade between the commander's armor plates, straight into the core of his chest. Vorak froze. He tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. "You fight." "Because of love." And then, he fell. Silence returned, except this time. It was victory. The escape. Rourke's voice came through, rasped but strong. "Everyone move. Fleet is engaging outside. We blow the core on the way out." Mira grabbed her father's hand. This time he didn't fall. He stood strong. Together, they ran through the corridors, past burnt-out lights, past fallen soldiers, past battles still echoing. They reached the hangar. A Terran shuttle was waiting, engines hot. Doors open. Ethan helped Mira aboard. Rourke followed. Bleeding but steady, the shuttle launched as it broke away from the mothership. Explosions bloomed behind them. The Dravak flagship split into fire and fragments, and the night sky of Horizon 6 lit up with falling embers like a second sunrise. Back on the ground, when the shuttle landed, colonists rushed forward, tears and relief overwhelming them. Jace saw Mira. He ran as fast as his small legs could carry him. She caught him and spun, laughing and crying all at once. Their father wrapped both of them in his arms. A family, broken by war, finally whole again. Nearby, Captain Rourke stood quietly, looking up at the stars. Mira approached him. She didn't speak. She simply hugged him. Rourke placed a hand on her head. "You were never weak," he said softly. "You were brave when it mattered." Mira nodded. She understood now. Being human is not about strength. It is about not giving up, no matter how dark the sky becomes, no matter how strong the enemy seems. Humans fight for each other, and when they fight for family, they do not lose. When others fight for conquest, humans fight for love. When others fight for power, humans fight for each other. And there is nothing more dangerous in the galaxy than a human with something to protect. The Dravak learned this, and the galaxy will remember. If you enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon to stay updated with fresh content every day.